Technology the way you like it. This is Technology Today. Well, welcome everybody to Technology Today, episode number 32. I'm your host, David Herzog, and today I've got some stories from the world of technology, and I'm going to talk about and show everyone how to access the disk management section of the Windows 10 operating system to see the partitions of the hard disks or SSDs that are installed in your computer. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Well, hello everybody, what's going on? It's me, David Herzog here, talking at everybody once again. How's everybody doing? Wow, brand new year, 2021. Finally, it's here, and we're still, I think we're still kind of celebrating a little bit, to be glad it's over and be glad everything's happening and we're closer to, having a new direction going in our lives, and we're each plotting a new direction to go in our lives as well too in this new year. Well, if you are curious and you would like to listen to this podcast, Spreaker.com in the technology section of the webpage is the first place that you can listen to it. Then you can listen to it on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, and also you can watch this podcast on my Technology Today YouTube channel that I started last year, and also you can watch it on Twitter as well too. So we got a brand new year here going on, and hopefully we're all going to be doing brand new things. I know I am. I'm working toward I have those goals, set in motion. I'm slowly working on achieving them. And, with any luck and determination and perseverance that I have, I will achieve the goals I have set forth for myself in this year. And hopefully, whatever goals that you all have set for yourselves, you will achieve them as well too in this new year. Well, enough of the chit chat here. Let's go ahead and get started with the first story here. Microsoft Teams is getting a new dynamic view option to make your meetings more interesting. Seems Microsoft Teams is getting a new dynamic view option to make your meetings more interesting. Microsoft Teams is gaining a new feature that should help improve the visibility of slides and key speakers during meetings and events. Microsoft Teams, the new feature dubbed Dynamic View, will be rolling out worldwide on Teams for the desktop in March. Spotted by Windows latest, the controls should help boost engagement by automatically adjusting the size of shared content such as slides in a group meeting or an event. Participants also have the option to display slides and a key speaker in a larger frame next to each other. This should be an improvement to the meetings experience and the existing version of the Teams desktop app, which only displays the presenter or participant in a small frame when watching shared content. Dynamic View automatically optimizes shared content and video participants in Teams meetings. New controls let you personalize the view to suit your preferences and needs, such as the ability to show shared content and specific participants side by side. Another new Teams meetings feature coming in February is custom layouts. And Microsoft unveiled this feature in September, along with new shared scenes for Together Mode, a feature that uses AI to segment the faces of meeting participants and plonk them in a shared virtual room, such as an auditorium, coffee shop, or conference room. Microsoft developed Together Mode to alleviate the tedium of endless video meetings for people working from home during the global pandemic. Microsoft researchers believe it will make people feel more connected and reduce video meeting fatigue. Custom layouts is about delivering a more dynamic way to view content, but it also allows presenters to focus their audience's attention on content through hand gestures and facial cues without making the viewer choose between the speaker and the content. And presenters will also be able to customize how content shows up for meeting participants, including overlaying their video on content or moving their content box to a corner of the video view. So, it's pretty interesting, some new developments on Microsoft Teams, and I believe that's the new, that's the other video conferencing software that people use besides Zoom. I believe more people, I could be wrong, but I believe more people might use Microsoft Teams than actually using Zoom. But like I said, I could be wrong. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get to the second story of the podcast here. SolarWinds hackers had access to over 3,000 U.S. Department of Justice email accounts. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this if you're into technology and what's going on in the tech world as much as I am. The U.S. Department of Justice said that the attackers behind the SolarWinds supply chain attack have gained access to roughly 3% of the department's Office 365 email inboxes. The Justice Department currently employs over 115,000 people, which translates to around 3,450 potentially breached mailboxes. And also, the Department of Justice's Office of the Chief Information Officer detected malicious activity on December 24th, 2020, related to the SolarWinds hack that impacted several federal agencies and technology contractors. This activity involved access to department's Microsoft Office 365 email environment, Department of Justice spokesman Mark Raimondi said in a published statement on the matter. The Office of the Chief Information Officer blocked the method used by the attackers to gain access to the Department of Justice Office 365 email accounts after learning of this malicious activity. At this point, the number of potentially accessed Office 365 mailboxes appears limited to around 3%, and there were no indications that any classified systems were impacted, according to Department of Justice spokesman Mark Raimondi. SolarWinds hackers had access to over 3,000 U.S. Department of Justice email accounts. This statement confirms a Microsoft report saying that the end of the SolarWinds supply chain compromise was to provide the attackers with access to the target's cloud assets after deploying the Sunburst SolarGate backdoor on their local networks. A joint FBI, CISA, NSA, and ODNI statement also said that a Russian backed Advanced Persistent Threat group is likely behind the SolarWinds attacks. It also added that only 10 U.S. government agencies have been targeted by additional hacking activity after the initial breach. Excuse me. And here's the list, according to this article, that I found about this story here. Here's a list of the compromised U.S. government networks, and you can see them right down there. The U.S. Treasury Department, which is where we get our stimulus money from. U.S. Department of the State, U.S. NTIA, U.S. NIH, DHS, CISA, U.S. Department of Energy, National Nuclear Security Administration, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. So that's quite a few. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just 8 of those government networks that were compromised by the SolarWinds hackers attack. It just goes to show you, if you're interested in cybersecurity, there is a job for you. You're going to have to go jump through many hoops to get to that point in your life, but if you decide that's the direction you want to go in your life, cybersecurity, there will be a job for you eventually. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to grab a little drink of water here before we get to the third story. And that just goes to show you again, we have to be vigilant and constantly monitoring our online activity. What we do. You can't just. It's just like driving a car. You can't just you can't just get in the car and drive it and do what you want with it. You have to drive safely, just like you have to engage in your online activity safely. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and get to the third story here. All right. Third story I got here for everyone. What to expect from the first ever virtual CES. For those who do not know what CES is a Consumer Electronics show in Las Vegas. That's conducted every year, and it shows all the new electronics that we all use as consumers. That we may want to purchase or not purchase. Well, this year, due to the ongoing pandemic, the annual CES takes place entirely on our computer screens. The first ever completely remote staging of the Consumer Technologies Tentpole event starts on Monday, January 11th. Experiencing CES from afar poses some obvious challenges for those who will be reporting on the show. And there's no doubt this year's CES is scaled down. And a common example of this is the Consumer Technology Association, which hosts the CES, says that around 1,800 exhibitors will be a part of this year's show. That's fewer than half of the 4,400 exhibitors who showcased technology last year. And the CTA also pointed out that by being an all-digital event, the show will be accessible to audiences around the globe, but declined to say how many people have actually registered for this year's virtual CES. Some tech companies are opting out of CES this year or are checking out product news on their own timetables. And one of the companies, Amazon, won't have an official presence, though you can probably expect to see its Alexa voice assistant to show up in hundreds of products. Google says it will host partner meetings, but otherwise will be bowing out of the show. Microsoft President Brad Smith will give a keynote address on tech being both a weapon and a tool, an especially relevant topic, but most Microsoft related news at CES will be from its PC manufacturer partners. So, the pandemic here. The pandemic here has caused a lot of, unrest, not only in our lives, but in the lives of businesses as well, too. Oh, wow. And hopefully things will get better with the rollout of vaccines and everybody will get their vaccines and they'll be feeling better and, you know, businesses will begin to change their policies about hiring. Okay. Well, those are the first three stories that I have for everyone on this 32nd episode of the podcast here. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the technology tip of the day. All right. Technology tip of the day. Windows 10's disk management utility tool. And this is a really cool part of Windows, for those who do not know anything about the Windows operating system. This is the part Windows where what you can access this and you can see. Well, let me give you a brief explanation of it. Anyway, Windows 10's disk management is a built-in utility that allows you to see and manage any internal and external hard drives connected to your computer. You can also rename hard drives, assign them specific disk letters, and change the size of the partitions on the drives. And I do have here and I'm going to demonstrate here briefly on how you can access this in Windows 10. And showing on the screen for those who are watching this podcast, I have a computer screen here of another computer that I have hooked up to my computer here, courtesy of the capture card that I have installed in my computer. And what I'm going to do here is go down here to the search bar and I'm going to type disk management. Okay. And what that's going to do, that's going to bring up the disk management section in the Windows 10 operating system. And also for those who are fortunate enough to be watching this podcast, as you can see right here, this computer that I have the disk management section of Windows open is showing the disk management section of Windows. And this is a section of Windows that shows the partitions that are created when the Windows 10 operating system is installed on a hard drive or an SSD of a computer. As you can see, there's a system reserved partition right there, and there's the C drive partition right there, second one, and there's a 505 megabyte healthy recovery partition right there. So that's all the work that Windows does when you're installing it. If you've built computers like I have, these are the partitions that Windows installs on a hard drive or SSD of your computer. Well, I believe that's going to include the podcast for today. And if you are curious and you would like to find more information about me, you can find me on the University of Cincinnati's homepage at homepages.uc.edu/the tilde key Herzog DL, or you can listen to this podcast on Spreaker.com in the technology section of their webpage, and on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And you can also watch this on my YouTube channel, Technology Today, and on my Twitter page as well too. And I would like to thank everyone for listening and watching today, and wish everybody a happy new year. I hope you all achieve your goals and dreams that you set out to achieve this year. And I'll be talking at you soon. Goodbye until next time.